home and have no watercolor, I'm going to teach you how to make marker watercolor. You are going to need a water-based marker, something to pry the back part off with. I'm going to use scissors, pliers works better, and a cup of water. Your hands will get dirty, so keep that in mind, but also remember it's washable. To get to the good stuff, you got to take this back end off. I'm using a scissors to pull it off. A screwdriver would work better, or a pliers, but do not use your teeth. You will get color all over your mouth and it will be embarrassing. Back's off. Now I need to take off the felt tip, place that in the water to soak, as well as the felt tube that holds all the color for the marker that's inside. There you go. I used warm water, but cold water also works. After you have taken out the felt tip and the inside, I would make sure to keep your marker cases because Crayola does something amazing with them. They recycle them. So you can send them into Crayola, they'll recycle and reuse those cases. So thank you, Crayola, and make sure to recycle them. I've got one more note for you, and that is that this method only works with water-based markers. That means a permanent marker will not work. Those are made with alcohol. So before you take the inside of your marker out, double check that it says water-based or washable on it. Let's check out the inside tube and see what it looks like now. The more of the color gets pulled from it, the whiter that it gets. My red one has been soaking a lot longer than the others, and it's about 3/4, almost all the way white. The longer that the tube soaks in your water and gets closer to being white, the brighter your watercolor is going to be with each layer. So instead of having to do 3 layers to make it look nice and bright and purple, you might only have to do 1 if you let it soak long enough that the white tube shows, or if you add more purples to be soaked in at the same time. So finally, let's get painting. First up is red. I soaked it for about an hour in warm water, and I put quite a bit of water in it. I guess I never really showed how much water. It's probably about 4 ounces or a small little cup of it. But you can see it's taking me a couple layers to really get that red color to come out. The orange here has probably been soaking for maybe 20 minutes. I don't really think that long, to be honest. And you can already see it's a lot lighter, and it's going to take me a lot more layers, which is going to end up wrinkling my paper super bad. You can even see looking over at the red one right now that my paper's starting to rise up and push the color towards the edge of my painting. Peek over at those containers holding the colored water. I would assume that the purple would be the brightest out of all of them. They all have about the same amount of water in them. And the purple looks like it should be darker, but because it hasn't been soaking that long, it really doesn't add a whole lot of color to the water when you bring it to paper. So if you want your watercolors to be very bright, you have to do one of 3 things actually. First, let it soak longer. The second thing you could do is you could use less water. And the third thing you could do is add more of the same color marker into the containers you are soaking them in. As I put a little information for you to be able to remember and read below these paintings, I just want to talk about the fact that there is more than one way to do watercolor with water-based markers. I'm going to show you another way right after I write about the purple one here. And then I unfortunately have to go to photos for my last little bit because my video cut out. So for the stem of my cherry, what I'm going to be doing is just touching water with a regular marker. And what it's going to do is it's going to spread super quickly along the wet part and it's going to fill it in. That's one way that you can do watercolor as well. With the grape, I drew just a line and then I added water with a paintbrush to it, and it kind of spread it out. Otherwise it was a really thin line that you saw right as the video ended. And so that's another way that you could do it. Unfortunately, with my orange, I didn't add any water. It just showed you what a marker would naturally look like next to its watercolor. So checking out the notes below, the less water that you use to soak, the brighter your color will be. So the more it'll look like the marker out of the tube. And the more water that you use, the lighter, more see-through the color will be. And also, the longer you soak it, the brighter the color will be. And the shorter time that you soak it, the more see-through or lighter that the color will be. So, I want to say thank you for watching. Thanks for coming and checking it out. I hope that it works well for you. And if you are one of my students, thank you so much for stopping in. And please, please, please send me a picture of what you have created and how it has worked for you.